hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing that you're in love with me.
Hello everybody and welcome to another patch for Marvel Heroes 2015. This one is 1.24, and first and foremost, if you have seen some of my videos before, you may notice that my voice is a little bit different, and that's because I have a pretty nasty sinus infection going on right now. Of course, during one of the biggest patches that we've had in a good couple of weeks. But I'm not going to let that stop me, and I'm going to sit here at least long enough to record this. So first and foremost, we've got a sale on fortune cards in part with the Industry City Patrol release, which is really cool. And we have a couple of costumes, one of them to celebrate Thor's level 52 review, and then Savage Land Road, which just looks crazy if you ask me. And the biggest news here is that we do have the Industry City Patrol, the new area, which is under the Challenges tab, just like Midtown Manhattan. And don't worry, I will be going into this. It's a really interesting and very unique, I guess you could say, a very unique gameplay style, and I'll explain what that means after I go down there. But there's a couple of other little things. First and foremost, you may remember that a while ago we had the introduction of the hardware mouse feature, which meant that the mouse was controlled by hardware instead of by the game. But now it's actually been relabeled as a beta feature, and it even says use at your own risk because it is still causing crashes. So just be aware that if you do have that utilized, then you can potentially run into some issues. So I am on Thor right now. I wanted to talk about him first. His 52 review went really, really well. I think he's great now. I never had any really big problems with him before, but I think now he's frankly just a lot better. I enjoy playing as him a lot more. I haven't allocated all of my points. I mostly just allocated a bunch randomly, so that I could just sort of see what everything does and what it looks like. One very important thing is he now does have a secondary resource, the Odin Force. And originally he had this before, but it was removed because it didn't really work very well and people just generally didn't like it very much. But now it is back, and it actually does a lot for a lot of different powers. One of the major things that the Odin Force does is, first off, you get to a state called imbuement. Imbuement is simply when you have one or more Odin Force points. You have up to 3 that you can get, and I actually want to get this real quick. Sorry about that. You can have up to 3 at any given time, and what they do is they certain powers will actually allow you to be, or not allow you to, but will be more powerful if you are imbued, which again just means that you have more than 1 point. So you can see here with Rolling Thunder, it has an additional effect when you're imbued. Just like the Crack the Sky, it also has, this one actually has a different effect as opposed to the additional effect. Just, you know, minor differences there. One thing to note is that the Odin Force does decrease over time, and one of my personal favorites is still in the game, Asgardian Smite, which is his giant leap attack, which is still really awesome. And you can see that I gained a point and then it went down quite quickly. So here, we'll do it again. So you see we got a point, and then immediately it starts decreasing. And it decreases at a fairly fast rate. But there are numerous powers that gain it back for you. Storm Strike is obviously still the go-to, what's it called, the go-to basic attack, regardless of if you're doing like pure melee or if you're doing a melee ranged hybrid, whatever it happens to be. Very, very good to have, very exciting. And again, just like with many of the 52 reviews, we had a full VFX update, as well as the powers, obviously, and the items as well. So that is the basic Storm Strike right there, and then we have, I believe it's Crack the Sky. So you see how there's a the little, what's it called, the little AoE right afterwards? That's due to the imbuement. Once my imbuement goes away, I can still use the power, but that effect goes away. So you see it's not there anymore. You know, just little things like that. One thing to note, this particular area of effect attack, which is this one, Bring the Thunder, if you stand in that area, the AoE that it creates, it actually stops your your Odin Force from decreasing. So you see it's sort of stuck there. Really cool, a lot of versatility, just like before. I mean, you can still do the melee ranged hybrid. You can potentially do full ranged or full melee. It would be pretty tough though. But he does have some really cool powers. Here we got the rage for Asgard. It actually increases your fighting by 5, which is pretty impressive. So you can get some massive damage out. And you just have to be imbued. It doesn't actually spend the Odin Force. You just need to have it available. So he's got some really awesome powers that he can use, some of the one-time AoEs, and then of course his signature, which is the Anti-Force, as it became renamed. I personally don't really like the VFX for it anymore. I think it's okay, but I don't think it's great, personally. But it still does a ton of damage. Sorry about that, my phone. It still does a ton of damage, and not only that, but it also it actually gives you the full complement of Odin Force. It gives you all 3 immediately, as opposed to something like Asgardian Smite, which gives you 1 straight off, or some of the other ones which typically generate 0.3 per hit or per second. So regardless, still great deal of versatility, a lot of fun to play. I tested most of the powers. I think that they're all pretty good. I am by no means a theory crafter though, so don't take my word for it. As always, just have fun, see what works for you, just test them out, see what you like, see what you don't like. This one's actually pretty powerful too. I have fun with that. Either way, I gotta stop doing this and move on to something else, which is actually going to be the ultimate, which is that's cool. That's Ragnarok, the one I just got. Oh, awesome, love it. So the ultimate that he has is God Blast, as the Anti-Force was previously called, and it has the very famous Empowered effect and the very sought after effect. So what that does is it actually increases the base damage of all powers by 40% for you and all of your allies. So in a raid setting, it is pretty much vital that you have at least some people that have that kind of an ability. So his ultimate actually looks really cool. Oh, isn't that awesome? I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So much fun, so cool. Although now it seems like I broke all the VFX because I can walk through the bad guys. I guess that's just the buff there from the ultimate. Either way, very fun, really awesome. Love the review, love the new powers, love the VFX. I think just good all around. Obviously, in the next couple of weeks, it's going to get some tweaking without a doubt. But again, that's not really my department. I am by no means a theory crafter, so I just like to play, and I think that it looks awesome, feels great, fun, powerful. What more can I ask for? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hop back over to Gambit, and I'm going to go into the Industry City Patrol. Like I said, this is a new area that is similar to Midtown, but still distinct from it. So it doesn't feel like a clone, which I think is really good, and that it was something that I was really worried about. Oh, excuse me. I was really worried that this would just feel like a clone of Midtown, simply because that's the easiest way to do it. It's like, oh, look, it's another giant thing with a bunch of bad guys that we can go and take out. But no. Instead, the way that it works is instead of just having basic boss waves of, like people X show up, instead you have actual events that occur in several different phases. So right now we're actually in the middle of one. You can see it says Savage Export Dino Deals. What we have to do for this one is we have to stop the sale of dinosaurs. And once we pop the box open, then you can see there's little raptors inside. And we do get the Industry City reward boxes for completing each phase. So now we have to defeat all of the dinosaurs that got off the ship. This is the next phase. So you can see there's a bunch of dinosaurs over here. Ah! Take that, dinosaurs. And from what I've seen, I haven't played it too much, but each phase or each event seems to have like 3, 4, 5 phases right about there. And I think it's at least a good starting number. They might adjust that later, and certainly they can add more. But just like with Midtown, we do have things like the boss-specific artifacts as well as uniques. We also have the patrol badge, just like with Midtown, all that stuff. Alright, so now get to the AIM sub. So I think this is where we actually get to fight the Rocket Rexes. And all the little boxes actually come after each phase. I'll open all those up in just a little bit. I do still have my loot vaporizer on, so you probably won't be able to see much. I got terrible drops from, from all of the ones that I had previously. I didn't get anything that was not vaporized. I didn't even get like a green insignia or something like that. Just nothing. Woo! I got my ultimate though. Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Alright. Is it just me, or does their screech sound like the Godzilla screech? It was probably designed as such. But either way, like I said, I think that it's really cool because it's a different flavor on a lot of the same pieces, which I'm perfectly okay with, and I think it's great. And incidentally, apparently, the boxes, from the boxes rather, you can actually get all of the boss-specific, artifacts and uniques, potentially, from those boxes. So if you can't see at the top, this is actually just timed. So it's got another 40-odd seconds left. Now we just gotta defeat Rocket Rexes. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. We'll get them soon enough. Excuse me. It's funny, I turned my head to cough, so I don't cough on the microphone, and then I remember that the microphone is attached to my head. It's a rather odd situation to be in. So I guess the best way to describe this is sort of a combination of both X-Defense and Midtown. Because you have stuff like this, which is essentially a wave defense, and you also have just the random running around and defeating the bad guys that you find. But one thing is that these events happen very frequently, and like I said, they have a good number of parts to them, which is just downright impressive. Oh, the AIM Overseer. So these are the guys that look like MODOK, sort of. Incidentally, as of right now, I'm not certain, but I don't know if there are legendary quests that are specific for Industry City. I know several people are campaigning for shared quests between, literally sharing between Industry City and Midtown, because they do share a lot of the same baddies and stuff like that. So it would make it relatively easy to do those. AIM patrol is routed. Gimme. So there were a couple of cosmics there, but again, I've got the loot vaporizers on, so it doesn't really matter much for me personally. So you see, that was the end of that particular event, and we've got basically just under a minute before the next one starts. So I'll start the next one, but I don't think I'm going to finish it. Ooh, Cosmic Ring. Yeah, of course, after I say, oh, I got nothing good from these boxes. And there's another one, of course. Yes, thank you, game, for making me look like a fool. Ooh, fancy. That one's actually not too bad. Okay. So, like I said, I'll just wait for this other one. And in case you can't tell, the actual map is based off of the docks from, I think it was Chapter 2, where you go to find Hood. So it's just like the Midtown Manhattan is based off of the same thing with where you go and fight Kingpin on the Upper West Side. Alright. Oh no! People are being infected by Venom. Save the civilian! Save? You have been saved. You are welcome. So, it's kind of cool to do these because it's like you are in a party, but at the same time you're not. That was one thing that was mentioned a lot by the devs, is you do have to coordinate and you have to cooperate, but by no means is it to nearly the same level as like the raid. because, you know, with a raid, you have to be completely on top of everything that you're doing at all times. I'm not even going to bother with those, because I just want to find somebody I can try and save. I feel so worthless. I only saved one person. But like I said, I haven't played it very much, so I don't know exactly how many of these events there are. I'm sure that there's a decent number at least, but I don't know exactly. Though that the one that I just did with the dinosaurs was the first time I had a repeat, but that's really not saying too much, unfortunately. So see, just finished a phase, so we got the reward box. We'll just crack that open real quick. Ah! Cool. But it seems that they do go in a relatively similar sort of progression, where you start off with, you know, you have to save people, you have to protect people, something along those lines, and then you have like this giant wave, similar to, like the hypnotized cliff walkers in what's it called? X Defense, or same thing with the mindless ones, things like that, just the massive waves. But either way, that's enough blathering on. I'm going to head back to Avengers Tower to wrap everything up. Regardless, I think that Industry Patrol is good. I like it. I think that the developers did a wonderful job with it, and it's just a lot of fun. It is. I think it's unique enough that it makes sense for the game, and I think that it's also unique enough that it doesn't feel completely like one thing or the other. And incidentally, one thing that you can do is when you complete, I believe it's 5 phases, then if you talk to Agent Stan Lee, then he gives you a random fortune card, which is kind of cool. And I don't know if that's going to be continuing. I hope that it is. Let's see what I got. Ooh, special item find. So this is actually pretty cool too, because I think it is just once a day, but it gives us a chance to get free fortune cards that otherwise we would have to pay for. So I hope that they maintain that. I hope that it stays for as long as it is able to. And with that, I'm going to go and take a nap. I hope that you enjoyed this little video. I hope that you have a great time playing as Thor with his 52 review, and have a wonderful time in Industry City Patrol. I hope you get all of the boss uniques. I hope that you get super lucky with all of your fortune cards. But regardless, just make sure that you have a great time. I will see you all later.
It's as sweet as candy. Its taste is on my